Welcome to another edition of Sunday Suppers with Sego. I'm your host, Chef Chet Sego. And tonight we have a special treat for you. I have an actor, philanthropist, an entrepreneur, a writer, and he's mastered every trade that he's got out there. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Scoop Salter. Scoop, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me,
All
Chet. I
right, all
really
right.
do.
We go way back, and it does me proud to see that you are making so many accolades and everything from entertainment to volunteer work to giving back to the community to even working on certain projects that you have. So let's take it one step at a time because there's a lot to cover, you all. You have recently been seen all over social media because of some of the acting roles that you had. A
Correct.
little bit about some of the roles that you did.
Well, man, I first got into acting uh, as I was on my journey to get my GED
Mhm.
at Trinum Community College here in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
And that was a tough time, being in and out of that. But once I finally got my head on the right track, I was able to go ahead and tackle that head on. And one thing that stood out to me was I had started doing little acting skits and stuff in the mirror
Mhm.
at home. This is way before social media came out. This is like 2000, like 2012, 2011, 12. So, one day in the class, like I said, it's adult education, and we only cover math, science, social studies, language. And the teacher asked, she said, "Hey, I need two kids, maybe three, to get up and act out a skit."
Mhm.
So I was like, "Well, this is my chance right here, in front of the class." So,
Okay.
she said, "Raise your hand if you want to get up and act out." So I raised my hand. She was like, "Okay, we got one. I need two more." So she was like, "I'm gonna start picking out people now if y'all don't." So a
Right.
girl stood up. Then she picked out this guy. So, she said, "Okay, she pointed at me, since
Mhm.
you wanna act out so bad, I'm gonna let you be the boyfriend,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna let the lady be your girlfriend,
Mhm.
and then she's gonna have this significant other gonna come and knock on the door, unexpected." And
Mhm.
so I killed that. And when I did, we had a special guest. She had a friend in the classroom at the time. Our teacher did, and after the scene was act out, everybody stood up, clapped, and she was like, "You know what? When you finish your GED, you need to go to Alabama State. Please go to Alabama State. Go
Okay.
take up acting. So when I started, I ended up getting my GED
Mhm.
in 2013, and then I went to Alabama State in 2014.
Okay.
And, that was a long journey, and man, when I got in there, I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't actually choose uh, acting,
Mhm.
because I had a business at the time,
Okay.
and I still have that business. I started in 2011,
Okay.
and it's called DS Quality Home Improvement.
Okay.
So DS stands for DeMonte Salter. Then you
Okay.
got Quality Home Improvement.
Okay.
I started the LLC to umbrella DS Quality under the LLC, which is DS Quality LLC.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man, I want to be able to do so much under that umbrella to where the LLC would carry on a lot of other different things.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that's how I got into acting, man. And then when I got to Alabama State, choose business
Mhm.
as a major, and I just couldn't hold tight to that business, so I decided to just pick communications,
Mhm.
radio and television.
Okay.
Then I minored in film studies. So when you take film study classes at Alabama State, it's gonna be in your curriculum to take acting classes.
Mhm.
So when I started taking those acting classes and had to get on stage, at the theater, man, it was like it was different.
Mhm.
So now I'm able to actually step off into it. It gave me a lot of confidence.
Okay.
And after after taking a break from college, I reached out to this young lady named Brittany Powell on Facebook
Mhm.
because she was advertising a lot, saying, "People, I can get you these roles. I can get you there. I can
Yeah.
get you there." I'm like, man, let me try this out. So I reached out to her. She sent me, basically like a something that this casting company was sharing about getting on the BMF. So I filled that out, and BMF they emailed me back and was like, hey, it was just for a background role.
Mm-hmm.
So they emailed me back and it was like, hey, we need you here on this day. I was like, wow,
Okay.
I was shocked, so I jumped in my car and I got on the road, went to Atlanta, Georgia, because that's where they film at.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, they transport you from your car in the van. They got all these nice traveler vans, and man, I'm talking about they real luxury, and they transport everyone from their car to the actual set.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get to the set, you see all these RVs out. You see celebrities that's actually in the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I wasn't starstruck because I had already been seeing a lot of different people
Right.
throughout my life. And once I got on set and walked into the room, and I was like it was a warehouse, and I could like inside the warehouse um they got these walls built up as plywood on the outside, but when you look in the inside, they got these whole setup like a real house.
Right.
So I was just looking at them like, dang, that's when it started to get. I got starstruck off looking at the setup.
Right.
Because I never had been, on a set before. And then, it was, of course, it was me and like 50 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a club scene that they had me to go into. And after that club scene, as I was in the club scene, Neo, the actor, the singer, turned actor, he was walking by me. I was like, wow, Neo. I was like, he was smooth with it. He was just walking by, dapping people up.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I said, what's up, Neo? He dapped me up. I was like, man, and he came and stood right next to me on the wall. So I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm standing next to Neo, man. Let me say something to him and kind of rub off on him, let him remember me,
Right.
I just thought of something. I said, Neo, I said, man, that was you singing in that song with Jamie Foxx. I love her because she got her own. He was like, yeah, that was me. I said, but I'm talking about that certain part when you was hitting that high note.
Right.
He was like, man, yeah, that was me. I said, man, that wasn't none of you. He was like, man, yeah, man, that was me, man. I can still do it today. I was like, all right, if you say it was you, but I just wanted to do that so that I can kind of, in case I run into him in the future, bring that up, we just be able to politic from there. So I liked at that moment, but then when it was time for them to start filming, I realized I wasn't gonna be in the cut.
Okay.
So I'm like I said, I was a background actor, so I started to kind of tell myself, man, I shouldn't even came, because I thought I was gonna be on the camera. I made a post on social media telling everybody, hey, look, man, I'm in BMF, man, y'all get ready to look out for me. But as they filming, I'm like, man, I ain't like the cameraman went this way, the cameraman went that way. I'm still right here. I was like, man, but God was like, no, just hold on. Just hold on. Just don't get beside yourself. I was just feeling that. My spirit was hearing it.
Because you were eager to really get this acting thing
Yeah.
started. You already went all the way there, and you're starting to see celebrities. And even though you're not starstruck, you're spellbound by what you're looking at because it's that Hollywood South feeling that you can easily be bit by the bug when you start seeing that there are people who are movers and shakers making things happen over there. So I could definitely understand that. For our listeners who don't know, BMF Mafia is a Netflix original series where not only did he do that particular show, he also went on to do some other Tyler Perry projects over there as well, where he's in this season of Sisters as an actor.
Right.
And I know we'll see much more from him to come over there in the acting scene. Let's talk about your philanthropy though now, because you do a lot for the community. That rings true for everybody who is, following you out there. Because I've seen you do things from giveaways to all kind of stuff that you give back to kids. Tell us about this program where you're actually teaching kids a trade skill to learn.
Okay. So last year during spring break, it was a lot of it's a lot of homicides and a lot of kids getting arrested for things that they probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And it's something inside of me to want to go and reach back to these kids because I was, I see myself when I see them, see my past. So I was just like them. And knowing that God has blessed me with the gift to be able to use my hands and be able to go out in the community and make a living for myself, and not have to clock in and do a 9 to 5, man, I say, if I can do this, these kids can do it.
Right.
And I know I got the patience, so last year during spring break, I made a post on social media and asked for 4 kids, to come with me during spring break, and I teach them how to do carpentry. But man, that post went viral. Like, I want to say it got like 80 to 90 some shares, like 200 to 300 likes and all of that. So it was so many people inboxing me with their kid, like, hey, I got this. I'm like, yeah, every time I look in my inbox, it's 4 kids here, 5 kids here, 6 kids. Later, like, hey, my friend got, like, I'm talking about, man, I feel like I need an assistant, to assist me with that because I didn't want to leave all these people on red. I didn't want to I didn't want to make it look like I was just, capping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I reacted to every message. I responded to it, and when I got over, I decided to take 12. Of course, I had like 80 some kids that was interested from the parents.
From the original 4 that you were take to kind of make room for 8
because
more people.
The project at the time I didn't have the building that I have now. I have a building now with at least 20 desks in it. I have a license to teach carpentry to these kids. Okay. So that time period led me to want to expand and do it that way. The current way that I'm trying to do now. So I'm actually right now I don't have the kids coming into the program yet because I'm still getting it off the ground. But that introduced me to wanting to do it this way. So, but like I said, man, when those kids came with me on that first venture, they came with me throughout that week. The first day I taught them how to do flooring. The second day I taught them how to paint. Gave each one of them a roller, paint roller, paintbrush, and I separated them. Had guys teaching them because I was on a new home, new construction home. Okay. So it was just so much to do. And so the third day, we did more painting. The last day, which was Friday, because we started at Tuesday. So that Friday, during lunch break, I took them all downtown to the city hall and showed them how to, open up a business license. Open up a business by getting a business license. Showed them how to get insurance on their business. And just, some of them already had a bank account, so I didn't go that route with it, but I just at least wanted to lay the foundation part out for them. So that's how I started out, actually within the community with working with the young men and trying to help them migrate from the streets to the business side of things.
Now, you mentioned that earlier in our conversation that these kids reminded you of you. What was your story like growing up? City.
Yeah, man. Well, I grew up in a neighborhood projects called Smiley Court, and it's no longer there. But yeah, man, Smiley Court, it was pretty rough during the mid '90s and early 2000s. That's when we was kind of fascinated with Cash Money and the Hot Boys. Master P. So and that's pretty much. Those are pretty much the people that I idolize. Right. I didn't have a really strong relationship with my dad how I do now because I didn't know my dad, when I was growing up. Yeah. But once I met him, man, it's just that's how I learned how to do carpentry. That's how I do what I do now. But leading up and to the point before I met him, man, it was just I was lost. I was out late night, 12, 13, 14-year-old watching people shoot dice, rob, sell drugs, So when I turned 15 and my mom ended up moving out of Smiley Court, I decided to go back and stay with family members, and found my way into the streets. So around 18, man, I was I ain't gonna say I didn't have anywhere to go. I made the choice that I didn't want to live with anyone that had rules, you know. So I started staying with friends, and man, I just started getting into some stuff that I had no business getting into. I was picking up guns, getting in shootouts, got shot at 19. I got shot 4 times with an AK-47. Um, got a bullet or two still in me right now, but you know, like I said, I'm just blessed to be alive from that. And then I got out of that situation, started back being bad again. You know, uh, I ended up I can speak on this because I did my time for it, but there was a clothing store here in Montgomery called Holidays, and I didn't rob them with a gun. It was just a theft of property. I strong arm took a bag of money, and I ran and got in the car and drove off. But I didn't use a mask at the time, you know. So the young lady who saw me take the money from her coworker, I didn't push her, I didn't hit her. I just took the bag and ran off. And the young lady called the police, man, and you know, I left the scene, but I had to go back around on the boulevard to get back to where I was going. And when I looked over there, I already saw the police out there. My spirits that were telling me, like, man, you didn't use a mask. You about to go do some time. And I felt it, you know, but I tried to kind of move past that like I didn't even do it, you know. So I took that money and went and started playing semi-pro football, you know, because I only did it because I was trying to find a way out of doing what I was doing in the street, and I knew of that particular place that I can go and get the money from illegally. So I had been scoping them out for a minute. Like I said, I committed the crime, and the young lady went and found a yearbook that me and her went to school in, took it to the police and circled it, and they started looking for me. You know, by the time they went to the first person house, I was in Florida in the middle of a game. You know, after the game, my cousin called me like, man, police just came to my mama's house because I was staying with them. I don't know how they knew, you know, but they came to her house looking for me, and he was saying that she wouldn't let them in because I wasn't there for one, and they didn't have a search warrant.
Right.
So they was like, when we come back, we're gonna have a search warrant. So you know, that kind of like blew me right there. So I didn't turn myself in. I didn't go back to football practice. I was just out back in Smiley Court, just walking the streets every day, just hot. You know, the people didn't even want me around them in their car because the police was riding through there looking for me, showing my picture. So kind of got tired of that, man, and started crashing over a friend of mine's house outside of Smiley Court. And my mom called me like, "Hey, the police done been in my house. You know, your sister let them in. I was at work."
Manhunt at
Yeah,
that point.
it was like the police. Then she was like, you know, the police then came in. Your sister let them in while I was at work. Then you know they went down the street to my girlfriend's house, who lived right down the street from my mom, and you know she called me with the police on the phone. You know, and you know, he's like, "Man, you need to come turn yourself in, man." You know, so I went and turned myself in, and I did my time, and like I said, so when I see these kids doing what they're doing, it just triggers me to know that it's something that can be done. You know, they need a role model. They need someone that can actually stay on them, because you know when you go out and speak to these different schools, trying to tell kids to stay out of trouble or going to these different places, you gotta do that repeatedly, you know, because it's almost like you're gonna be a role model, a father figure. Father figure is somebody that is consistent, you know. So yeah, that's what they need in order for them to kind of sway away from what they're doing.
Okay. So that was where your commitment came in to saying, I don't want anybody to ever go through none of that stuff I went
Right,
through,
right.
because you can see the parallels to what your life looked like growing
Mm-hmm.
up. Was there ever any person other than your father, when you were that age of these young guys that you're helping out now, that really did try to maybe pull you away from that, or was it just community of absence?
Uh, I man, it was just a lot of people allowed me to make my own choices. And I want to say, well, I can't say nothing, but it was God, you know. Because once I went to jail for that theft property, man, I had told God, you know, I said, well, these guys called my phone, the officers, It was like, come turn yourself in. You know, I told them where to come at. I met up with them, but before I made that decision to meet up with them, I had immediately told God, like, Lord, that's when my relationship came strong with God. I said, God, if you can help me through this situation,
Yeah.
you know, I promise you I wouldn't. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
You know, but like my faith started working on me hard then.
Okay.
And man, I told God I wasn't gonna smoke no more. I wasn't like at the time I was talking about cigarettes, you know,
Yeah.
because I was heavy on the cigarettes as a youth. And I was telling him, you know, I would never smoke again. I would never curse again. I would never lust. I just started thinking of stuff that I knew that can kind of bring me closer to him. So I started that journey, man, and my whole prison bed, which was 2 years, I didn't do any of it. I didn't cuss. I didn't steal anything. Of course, if you steal in prison, you got to face the consequences
Yeah.
with somebody. But man, I didn't have to worry about anybody. I didn't have to look over my shoulder to see if somebody gonna steal something from me, jump on me, beat me, or nothing like that. I just had this routine every morning that I woke up. I wake up, do some push-ups, work out on my bunk. You know, I learned how to cut hair, so I cut some people hair who I saw just looking rough in them.
Yeah.
I just cut them up, and not knowing that these guys were gonna be the guys to protect me. You know, I was hosting Bible study. These guys were the ones that were making sure. Like if somebody wanted to say something or do something to me, they probably like, look, man, don't bother him.
Yeah.
You know, that's my dog. Like he gonna make sure I'm good. You know, so a lot of that is probably the reason why, you know, I didn't have to worry about anything. So
So even without having your like biological father, you had your godly father covering you
yes,
the entire
sir.
time. And
Yep.
I've seen that in your walk also, as far as how you talk. Because I've known you a while, and you've been consistent. You never veered away from that place of peacefulness where people get drawn to you. So I can see why all these doors always open up for you.
Right.
You know, why all of these different things you're able to do so well at. Like between, you know, doing the carpentry, doing the acting, doing the
Mm-hmm.
educating. And this whole story is a story somebody's going to probably hear one day, because we were also talking that you would be ready to release a book at some point
Yep.
that you've already started.
I've started this book, man, before I even got into my adult education. I didn't, you know, I was 10th grade education, was expelled. And then while I was in the street, you know, tried to start leaning away from the street and start going back to my mom. And my mom had this computer set up in the corner of the house, and you know, I used to try to block my mind out from being, you know, from the world, and I just get in that computer and I just start typing. You know, not knowing how to, you know, spell correctly. You know, the computer probably would correct me, but not knowing my punctuations or anything, I was just typing away. And then, you know, when I went to prison, I had her to send me to print it out and send it to me. So I added on to it as I was in prison. And when I got out, you know, I was like, man, you know, when I don't know exactly what I want to go to Alabama State for. When I got my GED and I got out, I was like, maybe I should try journalism. You know, I tried business first, went from business to journalism, from journalism to communication, and then, you know, the minor in film studies. So it just worked out perfectly, man.
There's like everything just lined up
Mm-hmm.
for you so that you could just experience all of those different things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, very few people have their story that they can tell, even if they try to go for education or even if they try to get out of the streets. Doesn't fare out as well as it seems like it's fared out with you.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's not to discredit anybody else's story. It's just to say that yours is still being written. Like it's not even yet over. So I can see why the book is not out yet, because I think you got a lot more to tell us.
Yeah.
A lot more to tell us. Is there anything that we can look for, any other special projects or programs that you want to tell all of our listeners about that they either can get involved with through whether they can join your, you know, organization, or whether they can do any contributions financially to help grow the organizations and help some of these young people out here, or just any TV shows or anything further you want us to know about? Because you're doing a lot, so we got to keep up. You want to watch.
Well, as far as organizations, I'm a part of this organization, youth football organization here in Montgomery.
Okay.
It's called the Montgomery Cardinals.
Okay.
And now we've expanded this year because last year, all 4 teams, age groups that we have, we got the the 6U, the 8U, the 10U, and the 12U. And all 4 teams went undefeated last year. All 4 teams won the championship. And we all played at the Crampton Bowl right here downtown. And we, with that accomplishment, we draw in so many other kids to where we started a travel team.
Okay.
And we had one travel team as well. So we had 4 age groups plus a extra group, which was a travel team. They went undefeated, throughout the country, and won the championship with that. So like I said,
congratulations on that.
Yeah, that's shining a light. And now this year we have those 4 age groups with the 4 travel groups. So we got the 4 city team, 4 travel team. If anybody want to join or want their kids to come in, we're accepting kids throughout the month of January to probably the month of May.
Okay.
Let me see, July, probably the month of July. So man, it's wonderful to be able to be around these kids, to be able to teach them disciplines, leadership, how to be accountable, and just give them some of the things that they may not be getting at home, because a lot of these kids are, in their home with just their mother.
Yeah.
And they have a hard time with them, some of them. And so we there to kind of like replace or instill in them what they aren't getting outside of being on the field. But just teaching them the game of football, man, is just tremendous. And so if they want their kids to be a part of that, we have a Facebook page called the Montgomery Cardinals. We also have, I'm also a part of another organization. This organization is called Made Men.
Okay.
And we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook page, and we actually about to start inviting men to come in and be a part of our organization. And these guys, man, the Made Man, it stands for a man whose success in life is assured. And we started by meeting downtown. Everything seemed like everything working transpired from coming downtown, but we started downtown as a group, just meeting up, drinking, and venting to each other about different things. And now it went from a emotional to a social to just a financial boost within all of us. So and it's bigger than that. We actually became a family. So we do a lot of things within the community as well. We go to the nursing homes. We feed elderly people. We play bingo with them. We do back to school drives. We did our 2nd annual back to school drive.
Some of that. Yeah.
And so man, it's just to be a part of that, man, it's just amazing, man. To be able to know you got some guys that's gonna hold you accountable, and you're also able to hold them accountable, and to be on this journey of becoming a made man has just been life changing for me. So
There's definitely strength in numbers to not only changing the landscape of our communities, but to start in their homes by kind of having that sense of family.
right.
So I think that's awesome what you're doing. And I want to thank Scoop for being here today. I'm so proud of this man for all the work he's doing in the community, all the things he's going to continue to do. And I got to just shake your hand, man. It ain't many I've met like this.
Yes, sir.
So this has been a great interview. And until next time, you all, I love you like cooked food. Good night.